I'll be honest, bro. The group that I've been impressed with the most since I got into organized crime and that kind of stuff over the last like 10 years are the Albanians. And you know why? Because first of all, these guys are crazy and savage, and that is a reputation that they have, rightfully so. But they're extremely intelligent. So a lot of other people from other groups or law enforcement or whatever might think that these guys are just animals, but these guys are so intelligent, especially when it comes to cyber, like cyber stuff. You know what I mean? These guys are geniuses. I've got a friend back home, Albanian guy. He's a young kid too. He's like late 20s, I think. And he's an IT guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He knows, that's not my world. I can't even talk about it.
Yeah.
But it's very impressive, and he is a prime example of all these Albanians that are just really good with currency, with cyber stuff, hacking.
Right.
Yeah, like they're so much bigger than just that group, And now because of all the stuff that's happening in Calabria with all the lockups and stuff, they're also tightening their hold on the market, right? They are taking over the European market.
Oh, tell us about that.
Yeah, so the last few years, there's been so many busts between even Canada and Italy, southern Italy, especially with the Calabrians, who had a huge chunk of the market.
They dominated. It was like for a long time, it was like 80% of the in Europe first gets offloaded at the big Calabrian port down there.
Exactly.
But there's a lot of heat coming down on them now.
Exactly.
Right.
So they're getting picked up like crazy.
Yeah.
They're still very strong, bro. Again, in the media, they'll tell you that this organization is in like 8 or 10 different countries. I talked to somebody on the inside and they said we're in over 140 countries.
Wow.
They are everywhere.
Yeah.
And these guys, they play it smart, man. They get involved in politics, judges, like all that. They buy everybody.
Yeah.
Because they have so much money.
Yeah.
You look at I was looking at a news report from 2007 that said that they were making 60 billion euros a year. This small group from Calabria, right? And that is 2007.
Yeah.
So imagine how much they made during COVID.
Right.
All these organized crime groups actually got richer during COVID.
A lot of people did, yeah.
They got to legitimize themselves too. Everyone was selling everything.
Right.
Like everyone was so broke and they're selling their houses, their businesses, whatever. And the organized crime groups were like, yeah, let's go. Let's buy everything, So... yeah, that's an interesting part of what's happening in Europe right now.
But you think the Albanians are getting bigger than them?
No, but they're passing the torch. You got to understand that there's a lot of Albanians in Italy.
Right.
There's about 2 million, 3 million, something like that. And they've been there for quite a while. And they have great connections with the Calabrians. So this will never be a war.
They're making money together.
Yeah, they make money together.
Yeah.
And to be honest... And this is just from my experience back in Winnipeg. The guy that I told you about, he could be my cousin. You know what I mean? Like we're so similar, the way we speak, the way that we think and act. So Calabrians and Albanians, they really have, I don't know, some kind of chemistry between each other. So I think that this is more a passing over the torch. It might not be permanent. Let's see what happens later on with that. Let's see what happens if the Calabrians start to come back and the Albanians have control and they don't want to give it up. That could happen.
Right.
That always happens.
Because they're the ones that run England. Like Albanians are dominating London.
Not just
and
England. Bro, just quickly here. The one country that surprised the hell out of me years ago that I visited was Greece. So obviously they're in the Balkans,
they're
right?
Right up there, yeah.
Exactly.
Right above them, basically.
But when I went to Greece, I met a couple of Italian guys that were out there that were doing some stuff. And I said, who's running the show out here? He's like, the Albanians. I was like, really? Like what? I was like, not the Greeks, not the Calabrians, not the Sicilians, whatever. He's like, no, man, the Albanians have this place. There's so many of them. They're vicious. They're smart. Everything that I was saying about them. And I think they're the major European player right now.
Wow. Yeah. What other countries are they big in?
Canada. Yeah, like for instance, like even in my city, I'm seeing them pop up more and more. I used to go to Little Italy. Every place has a Little Italy.
Yeah.
Little Italy is a place called Cordon Avenue in Winnipeg. And that's basically just this small strip, but everyone goes and hangs out there, especially during the summer. And you used to see, there's a Bar Italia, and you used to see outside of Bar Italia Italians, right? And now you see a couple of them, but the rest are all Albanian. And I'm like, okay, I can feel what's happening here. They're big in Ontario as well.
Yeah.
As for other countries, Colombia.
Right. Because of course that makes sense.
They have to.
Okay. How does that work? How, people born in Albania say, you know what, I'm going to go strike it out somewhere. I'm going to go to Winnipeg because I hear that market's open and this is what I could do. I can, start running, get into scams. Like, so they just immigrate there and then their kids are born there and they get into it. Like, how does that happen? When people say, oh yeah, there's Albanians in 140 countries, there's Calabrians, like, yeah, how does that work? Is it like direct, like, is it a conscious choice? I'm going to go to Ontario because we can make money there.
There you go. Yeah. So I think that there's certain hotspots, bro. Before I got involved in anything, so we're talking like 15 years ago, I used to hear a lot about the Albanians in New York.
Yeah.
So right when the mafia was starting to fall, right in the late 90s or whatever it was, early 90s, late 80s, early 90s, I heard a lot about Albanians going in there, man. And the way that people would talk about them, like I heard that, like, Russians were always the crazy guys. Russians were always the savage, but you would hear these guys talk like Russian guys would talk to you like, don't f around with Albanians, and that's a lot of respect coming from these guys that we think are stone cold killers. Right. So yeah, I think that mentality, bro. Look at the biggest criminal organizations in the world on every level. So we're talking about Latinos, we're like Hispanics, we're talking about Europeans or whatever. Everyone's came from a poor country, bro. These people did not come from rich places. Right. A lot of these people were farmers. By the way, Calabrians were farmers. Yeah. Right? Yeah. The south of Italy had no infrastructure, no economy, nothing. It was just farming. And these guys started with kidnappings and they ended up taking their kidnapping money and getting into. Yeah, they were so smart, right? Because the Sicilians had the market already, but Calabrians were like, you know what, kills people. We want someone that keeps coming back. We want someone we want a product that is somewhat socially acceptable, right? Which it was, especially in the U.S. Yeah. It's normal, bro. Back in the Miami days and whatever.